Welcome, ladies. We are talking about label reading today. I'm Kim Nanninga. I am a registered and licensed dietitian. So if I haven't met you, hello, nice to meet you. We try and go live once a week on topics that you want to know about. And a topic that has come up a lot is, Kim, what do I look for when I go to the grocery store? What do I look for on a label? And so I want to break that all down today for you. I'm not going to lie. I have been very hesitant to do this live training, okay? But let me tell you why. To just look at a food label and have it be universal and just have recommendations universally across all foods, that doesn't work, okay? So depending if we're looking at fruits and vegetables or beverages versus salad dressings versus protein options versus snack options, what I want to do is I kind of want to break it all down for you in categories today. So I am a women's health dietitian. I help women, lose weight. So a lot of my women come to me because they want to lose weight, feel better, okay? And with that comes what goes in your body. And with our grocery stores and how we get food now, I want to just kind of outline what to look for. So if you're just joining us, I do have a handout that I can send you. Just comment, this is just comment food label handout, honestly. I have a pretty colorful one for you, but this is going to kind of summarize what I'm going to go through today for you. So if you do want that for some guidance, go ahead and comment that, okay? I see some of you on. Hello. I see some people coming on, so come in. This is a live training. We love to be interactive here. Hello, welcome. I'm Kim. We're gonna walk through, I have a bunch of just food here in my kitchen. I have a bunch of just these different things I'm gonna show you today. I'm gonna break it all down. So let's dive in. First thing I wanna talk about is this, okay? People get really confused by food labels, but I want to back up and I wanna give you some overall, guidelines, okay? First things first, I recommend eating 80% of your foods that don't have food labels, okay? Boom, apples, okay? We've got cherry tomatoes, chicken. Now, technically, I want to say because we have grocery stores and they need to package things with purchasing labels, this does have a nutrition facts label on it, and I can go over how to read that, but it's chicken, right? It's cucumbers, it's asparagus, it's black beans. Technically, this is a whole food, right? So ingredients should be just black beans, right? There's water and sea salt. Shrimp, tuna, rice. Okay, even though this is in a package, I can talk to you about how to look at this, but I'm gonna show you how to navigate pasta, rice, things like that, so that you can start oats, okay? So that you can start being free from the overwhelm of the food label. So who wants to be free from the overwhelm of the food label when you go to the grocery store? After today's training, I think you're going to have a lot more freedom and confidence going into the grocery store. Okay, so first things first, if you're doing it right, you shouldn't have to read a ton of labels because 80% of your food is coming from whole foods. 20% is coming from packaged foods, okay? What do we buy for chips? What do we buy for wraps? What do we buy for crackers? What do we buy for granola? What do we buy for things like that? Now, if there's something specifically you want to know about, drop it in the chat. I'll try and watch for that, and I might be able to pull something from my cabinets and show you. I just pulled what I thought would be helpful today, okay? So that's the first recommendation. The second thing I need to point out is this. Depending on what your nutrition goal is, or your health goal, I should just say health. Depending on what your health goal is, can change what's important to you in looking at a food label, okay? So if you're wanting to lose weight, that is what this training is about today. Losing weight, balancing hormones, saying goodbye to inflammation. Now, if you are someone that is struggling with a pretty intense illness, maybe you have some like Lyme's disease, maybe you are battling cancer, maybe you have some really significant food sensitivities and things like that. This does not apply to everyone, okay? Those people may need more direct coaching from a dietitian, but I'm going to give you the overview of like generalized what I would look for if you were one of my clients and what I do in my life personally to just live a balanced, healthy life, okay? So I wanted to make sure that we covered that. Let's see here. The other thing, we're gonna look through, like if you want to lower blood pressure or blood sugars or things like that, like we can kind of look at the label differently. So I'll try and pull up all of those things. Let's talk through though, let's just start this training. I'm gonna talk through protein, okay? So we're gonna start with protein. I have my little notes. I don't always, a lot of times I make notes and don't even follow them, but let's start with protein. I'm gonna give you my favorite trick and hack when you're looking at protein. I'm also gonna show you how some things don't help us, okay? And I just wanna open your eyes to a few things. So what I want you to do, and I'm gonna show you an example here, okay? I'm gonna hold this up, all right? So this has, if you look at the calories, this is just a protein shake, like a Fairlife protein shake. My son likes these from Costco. It has 150 calories, okay? I'm not as concerned about the calories as I am the protein calorie ratio, okay? So now if you look really close, protein is 30 grams, okay? Here's my trick. So you want to take the 0 off of the 150, okay? So it's 15. Then you look at the protein and it's 30. If protein is greater than the calories without the 0, it's a good protein choice. It's VIP approved, okay? This is a great choice for protein, okay? I had one of these before I went on my walk this morning. We can do this with this yogurt. Okay, let's do another example. I love examples. I'm a visual learner. Okay, so here we have 100 calories. Take off the 0 is 10. Protein, if you can see it, it's 17. 17 is greater than 10. This is a great protein choice. The reason I'm telling you this is because you don't have to get as obsessed about all the other things, the fat and the this and the that. This will help it be a VIP approved choice if you are kind of connecting with my content and like what we do here. This is a good protein choice. Now I want to show you something that maybe wouldn't be, okay? Now I pulled my Greek yogurt here. We make a veggie dip in our program, okay? So plain Greek yogurt, 90 calories, 16 grams of protein. That's a fantastic choice. But I wanted to show you this ranch dip, okay? So if you made your own veggie dip versus this ranch dip, I wanted to show you. This has 90 grams or 90 calories in 2 tablespoons and less than 1 gram of protein. This is not VIP approved, okay? I'm gonna also show you as kind of like a condiment. I'm gonna talk to you about the fat content here in a second, okay? Same with this one. So I love these. These are so good. But anyways, 170 grams of protein or calories, 170 calories. Take the 0 off is 17. The protein is 20. 20 is greater than 17. Okay? Let me show you a couple of other protein options that are what I would consider a no plan. Okay? So I got these from Costco. These would be a no plan. Okay? So if you're not looking to lose weight, if you're not, this is just kind of what I call like a maintenance plan protein. These are the Amy Lou's chicken crumbles, okay? If we look at the calories, okay, it's 100 calories, 10 grams of protein. That is equal, okay? The reason it's equal versus the protein being greater is because the fat's a little bit higher, okay? So the fat's a little bit higher. So that's when we can be like, I wonder why it's not more. It's chicken, okay? So here's chicken, right? And chicken, if you just have straight up chicken, 110 calories, 26 grams of protein. Why is chicken not equal to chicken? It's because there's things they're adding in here that are driving up the calories and down the protein. And so this is when we would look and say, okay, now let's talk about fat, okay? So the fat content for a product, okay, you gotta think about how much you're gonna be eating, okay? So if I was eating this, one serving's not enough. It's just not enough. One serving's only 10 grams of protein, okay? And for 10 grams of protein, you're getting, let me just pull this closer here. For 10 grams of protein, there's 6 grams of fat. So if we were to have 3 servings of this to get up to 30 grams of protein, okay, we would take 6 times 3, which is 18. And in VIP, we recommend staying under 10 grams of fat per meal. So this is not a VIP approved protein, okay? So you really do have to think about, okay, what is the serving? How much protein am I getting? And if I need to get 30 grams of protein per meal, I'd have to triple that. And that puts the fat content really pretty high. And that will keep your body feeling stuck. So although I have these and I eat these when we have company sometimes, it's not something that I would say is a yes versus like if you're gonna do your own ground chicken or grilled chicken. Again, this had 110 grams of 110 calories, and look at the protein right here, 26. 26 is way greater than 11, okay? So that is just a little piece of advice. Now, same thing we can do here for fat content, okay? So we looked at the protein, okay? Protein, what protein is good? So it kind of depends what you're looking at, okay? We have macronutrients, we have proteins, we have carbs, and we have fats. I'm gonna talk through each category, okay? Again, this is why meal label reading can be very complex, all right? Overall, if you're eating whole foods versus packaged foods, again, this is a whole food, this is a packaged food, you're going to be more on plan regardless, okay? Things that wouldn't need a label or not made in a factory, okay? Now, let me just show you the difference. I know we looked at this protein-wise, but let's just say we look at it fat-wise. Okay, so let's say you do two, let's just compare, we have to compare serving size to serving size. That's the other thing. So when you look at this dip is meant to be something that isn't something that's like a, this isn't your meal. Okay, this is something that gives flavor to your meals. So the serving size is 2 tablespoons. Same which would be for like salad dressings or things like that. And we'll get to that in a second. But if you make your own dip, then it's like, you know, you need to think about 2 tablespoons, okay? This has no fat, okay? This is a non-fat Greek yogurt. You could add, we have like a dip that you could make. This has in 2 tablespoons, this has 8 grams of fat, 8, okay? So think about if you were to go get veggies and scoop and dip, you could, I mean, come on, easily probably triple that, right? 24 grams of fat, all right? That's gonna keep you stuck. It's these little things that you can look at and ask, where am I at? What do I need? Okay, and then we look at the labels. So if you're in VIP and you're a VIP client, we try and get at least 30 grams of protein at meals and less than 10 grams of fat at meals, okay? That just keeps our macronutrients on track, and then around 30 grams of carb, okay? And we're gonna get into carb in a second. But you can see how this versus making your own could really, I ate my veggies, I had a little bit of dip. Well, we gotta pay attention to that label, okay? So you can kind of see where that total fat is. Sorry, let's see here. The total fat right there is 8. Okay, but you look at the serving size and it's 2 tablespoons. So realistically, how much are you going to be eating? Okay, so there's a fat example. I'm gonna show you another one with chips and then granola. Okay, so if you're, now I have stuff like this in my house. I am not in weight loss mode, I'm in maintenance mode, so I kind of do a little bit of both. My kids do a lot of these. They love nachos and stuff like that. But I just want to show you the difference here. It's not a significant difference, but it can add up, okay? So I think it's really important to look at, let's look at the serving size, okay? So for the tortilla chips, and these are, oh my gosh, Kim, they're the healthy ones, they're organic. You still have to look at the label depending on what your goals are, okay? So this has, the serving size is 11 chips, okay? We're not looking at chips for protein necessarily unless we're doing like actual protein chips, okay? We're looking at this as more of a carb choice or even just like a healthier choice. So I just want to show you how to do this. This is part of your 20%. Remember, 80% is whole food, 20% here. So you're in 11 chips, you get 6 grams of fat, okay? So if you double that, you're getting 12, okay? Obviously these aren't like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing you can get for carbs. No, we'd rather have you have pasta or rice or something like that, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I just want to show you how to look at these and how to compare them, okay? These aren't really going to provide you with a ton of nutrition, just to be clear. Like, this isn't how you get your nutrients, okay? We want you eating real whole foods for your carbs as much as possible. But we're human, we love crunchy munchy. If I'm having a taco bowl, I love my popcorners, okay? So 11 chips, had 6 grams of fat, 140 calories. Not that we're counting calories because we don't count calories in VIP, but this is gonna be a better choice. 21 chips, okay? 21 chips, 2.5 grams of fat. Okay, 120 calories. So almost double the amount. And I actually probably don't even use 21 chips. I would say I use, I don't count my chips. But something like that, I just want you to see the difference on the label of what you're looking at. I would say a huge product that is very high in fat and goes really fast are like crackers, chips, pretzel, like things like that. Like they can add up really quickly, okay? And they're addicting. So just watch for that. I do want to show you as well, like granola can be very high in calories, high in fat, okay? So again, it depends what your goals are. Like, I mean, if you're not trying to lose weight and kids and all the things, like there's some really wonderful granolas out there. I think they're awesome. If your goal is to kind of lean down, tone down, help your liver out, help your gut out, see more muscle, see less fluff over top of the muscle, I like Catalina Crunch. Okay, so a lot of times people are like, okay, Kim, like, what can I have with my yogurt to give it a crunch? I'm gonna do berries, yogurt, Catalina Crunch. So a half a cup, okay, 110 grams or 110 calories. If you take the 0 off, the protein actually matches it. So that's pretty amazing for a carbohydrate, okay? There is 5 grams of fat, okay? So, but when you do something like that with a non-fat yogurt and some berries, not a big deal, okay? This is going to be way healthier for you. If you have granola in your house, go get your granola. Look at how much a half a cup. Most granola on the package is measured out at 1/4 of a cup. All right, so that's where you can get tricked. It's not always the same. You have to look at the serving size, half a cup. So if anybody has granola in their house, go grab it. Take a peek at it. You might be shocked, okay? Okay, I wanna talk about carbs, all right? Oh, well, before we do that, I'm gonna just talk about fat for one more second here. Well, we'll get into dressings here in a second. Carbs, okay? We need carbs. Carbs are just so you know, carbs are our friend. Carbs are good. Apples, fruits, potatoes, beans, things like that don't have food labels, best carbs you can have. When we get back to the basics of not having to use labels, okay, for carbohydrates, okay, so for things like pasta, rice, beans, potatoes, fruit, how do you do that, Kim? How do you know like what's best? Honestly, they're fine. It's the portion, okay? So in VIP, we try and help our clients keep this really simple by not having to obsess over the label, because honestly, it becomes like just this like mind game, and it's kind of annoying, and then you don't want to do it and you give up, okay? However, what I would suggest is just a half of a cup. So if you're going to use beans as your carb, a half a cup. If you're going to have rice as your carb, half a cup. Notice I'm not even going to flip over the label. If you're going to have pasta, half a cup. Now, there are some that are better than others, but you're not really going to find it on the nutrition facts label. Okay, you're just not. So when it comes to canned goods, I'm just going to throw this out there. I rinse my beans. These are naturally low in sodium. I rinse my beans if I can. If I'm doing like soups and things like that, I will get like salt free. I'll add my own Himalayan salt or my own like Celtic salt or real salt. I like Redmond's. Anyway, so something to watch for with canned goods is salt. The other thing I want to bring up, let's say you're buying frozen veggies. Okay, now neither one of these have salt. Okay, these are veggies. Well, this is technically considered a carb, but anyways, veggies, whole food. If you're buying something frozen that has flavorings and stuff on it, it could have a lot of butter, cheap oils, and salt. So you're better off buying them without that and adding your own, okay? So just a note on that. You can just look at the label, and you can look at the sodium, and you can look at the fat. Fruits and vegetables shouldn't have sodium or fat on them. So if you can, when you're buying frozen, do that. Same if you're buying frozen fruit. You don't want the one that has like the added sugar, okay? Let's talk about carbs again. So for wraps, a lot of people are like, what should I look for? Again, you can have wraps, right? But I would say, and it's not like you're going to put it in a half a cup, right? So a wrap is a wrap is a wrap is a wrap. It's what you put with it, okay? Making sure you have 30 grams of protein. I would say if the wrap has, you know, less than 30 grams of carbs, I'm going to show you my favorite wraps are actually these Mission wraps, okay? On the back, here's a trick, okay? Some of you probably know this if I don't know, maybe they haven't taught this, but anyways, total carbohydrates, okay? So you're looking at this carb, it's 70 calories, not a big deal. Total carbohydrates, you can actually subtract the dietary fiber from the carbohydrates, okay? So total carbs on this one is 19, okay? Now it'd be fine if this had carbs and you had 19 carbs, it's fine. This has high fiber, so you can subtract the 17 grams of fiber from the carbs. So this is low, this is carb balance because there's only 2 carbs. So a lot of times, like if I have a wrap like this, I might have like a peach or something like that with it and some vegetables, okay? So you're just kind of looking for that. Any questions? I see some of you on. Let me see if there's any questions that have come through. Girls, just so you know, I do have a little handout here, kind of a cheat sheet on some of the things I'm talking about today. So if you want that, just put in the chat, label reading cheat sheet, okay? Put that in the chat. Let me see. So you're focusing on the fiber with the carbs, okay? Fiber is great. That's gonna be good for your blood sugar control, all the things. Let's talk about sauces, okay? I grabbed some not so good sauces and some better sauces. My daughter loves Chick-fil-A sauce, which, oh my gosh. So let's just kind of talk about this for a second. Now, if you are not trying to lose weight, I think like the Primal Kitchen brands are great. It's a great place to start. They're awesome. Some of those are really even good for weight loss. I use their barbecue sauce a lot. I use their barbecue sauce. I use their teriyaki sauce. I use their buffalo sauce. Okay, so 1 tablespoon has 25 1 tablespoon has 25 calories. And it does have 2.5 grams of fat. However, with buffalo sauce, I don't really see myself using much more than a tablespoon anyway. So that's the thing I want to point out is like these things are meant to just be used in small amounts. If you're a sauce person, you really want to watch this, because if you douse a salad in something like this, you're going to be getting probably an extra 400 calories minimum, okay? This is just like a straight up Thousand Island, nothing special. This is not VIP approved. This is not what I'm recommending. I'm just giving you an example. 2 tablespoons has 120 calories and 12 grams of fat. 2 tablespoons, 2. You double that, 24 grams of fat, 220 calories. That is not okay, right? If you're doing some sort of weight loss system. So we want to put that one aside. I do have different options for that. We can make our own, okay? I know that this is not necessarily something everyone wants to do, okay? These Walden Farm dressings are not for everyone. If you're someone that's like, oh, heck no, I'd rather make my salad dressing, by all means, please do. I make my own salad dressing. I love it. It's in my fridge right now. I use maple syrup, lemon juice, and spicy mustard. I love it. I put it on everything, okay? However, there is a Thousand Island. There is a Zesty Italian. We cut back on fat. We're not fat-free. We don't want you to do fat-free, like all the cheap, like all artificial stuff. I'm not saying that. However, in VIP, we are very thoughtful about how we do sauces, okay? Same with Chick-fil-A sauce. This has 14 grams of fat and 2 tablespoons, okay? So things like this can just really just kind of ruin something good that's going on. I am not anti-fat, but I think you need to be aware of your label, okay? So I love taco sauce, okay? Not a big deal, great, yummy. I add that to different things. This is another good one. So again, this taco sauce has 10 calories, all right? No fat, no sugar, 1 gram of sugar, not a big deal, okay? Use taco sauce a lot. This is something, this like little sesame teriyaki, 1 tablespoon, 20 calories, no grams of fat. It does have some sodium, so we don't want to overdo that. But again, this is a condiment. So we can't compare a carb to a condiment. We can't compare a condiment to a protein. We can't compare a condiment to yogurt, right? So we have to look at all the labels kind of in different categories. So I just wanted to kind of shed some light on sauces. I would say if it has like 25 or 50 or less, 25 or less calories, you should be on the right track. If it has more than that, it's probably really high in cheap fats and some sugars. Sorry, I got something on my finger here. Okay, the last thing I was going to talk about are drinks, okay? There's a lot of hidden sugar in soda, okay? I'm not saying go for artificial sugars. I love like the poppies. I like the Zevia colas. I know not everybody can do stevia, but drinks are big. I was actually just talking to a gal yesterday, and she does love Coke, and that's kind of her vice. You know, she doesn't drink alcohol and stuff. But I do want to just tell you, if you were to flip over a can, if anybody has soda in their fridge right now, or a sugary beverage, juice, soda, something like that, you can look at total sugars. Okay, this one has 0 because it's, it has 5 actually. It has 5. But anyways, if you look at a can of Coke, let's just say it has 24 grams of sugar, okay? How you can calculate that to make sense is you divide it by 4. You divide it by 4. That tells you the amount of teaspoons or tablespoons. I'm gonna have to relook that one up. It's been a minute. It's been since my Hy-Vee days. I wanna say it's tablespoons. Tablespoons of sugar in that soda. So you would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is what's in there, and that's what you're drinking, and that's what can cause a lot of inflammation and problems. So when we're looking at labels, my biggest piece of advice, okay? My biggest piece of advice is this. 80% comes from whole foods. So really, you're only applying what I just told you to 20% of what you're doing. And if you're following us, we give a lot of ideas of groceries and things like that. But now you can use these guidelines to guide you for the 20%, okay? So many times I see people get so overwhelmed with the 20%. And I want to say to you that the healthiest eater isn't the one who memorizes every ingredient and memorizes every label. It's the one who consistently fills her cart with the most real food, gets enough protein, enjoys carbohydrates, and uses common sense. Don't let food labels steal your peace, okay? That's my final tip. I hope this was helpful today. If you have specific questions on food labels, please let me know. If you joined us late, I do have this handout, which is a guide. If you'd like this guide, please comment, food label hacks, food label guide, something like that. And my team will get that sent over to you. So, all right, ladies, have a great day. Thanks for being here.